We love getting your questions, so we want you to keep them coming via Facebook, Twitter, and on our webpage. Who knows, we might just answer your question here in the studio audience next. Welcome back. Today we are joined by Paralympian and motivational speaker Amy Purdy, and we've been chatting with Tara, who lost the lower part of her leg several years ago in a tragic car accident. But since then, Tara has only gotten stronger. And so Tara, I just thank you so much for sharing your story. And you know, it's nice to be able to sit back a little bit and watch the two of you be able to connect and get that validation and get that affirming love that you need in order to be able to just continue to grow through this. But one of the things, I want to make sure that you don't leave without getting what you came for. And so I just wonder for you, on the days that are not good days, on the days that things are hard, what are those days like for you?
Those days usually are consisted of having physical pain, usually due from my prosthetic. I get these things I call hot spots from moving around in my socket, usually from running, and it's just this little area with any sort of pressure on it is just excruciating pain. So the only way for it to heal is to have your leg off and let it rest. But the pain, it can really bring me down.
Well, like a 1 to 10, 10 being the worst you could imagine. Where is it?
Close to that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, because all your body weight's on your leg and then on that one spot that's been bothering you.
And they're very high risk of infection, which I've had before, which is scary because then you hear the word revision as an amputee, and the physical pain can get me down.
When it gets you down, I mean, what is that like in that place?
It's lonely. It's really nice to be able to talk to someone that can relate because I feel like oftentimes in my daily life, no one can relate. And I can talk about it with my family and my friends, and they're very supportive, but deep down I feel sad and lonely. It really is a time that I kind of magnify my situation as being an amputee, and I'm reminded of it being such a hindrance. So I feel bad for myself sometimes, but thankfully I have people to mentor me and help me grow.
But until we can embrace the times that aren't positive and that are negative, then there's going to be a gap.
Yeah.
So we got to accept the whole you, not just the part of you that you want people to see.
And so I wonder, is part of the problem not necessarily that you're too positive, but that you don't allow anyone to see the other side because you're afraid of what their reaction might be, and then you'll spend all your time comforting them and telling them that it's okay.
Makes a lot of sense.
So how do you feel about all that?
It definitely resonated for sure. So my question would be, how do I go about starting to do that?
Boy, there's a $1 million question we all have, is how do we allow ourselves to be seen?
Yeah.
At our, flaws and all, scars and all.
There it
You
is.
happen to live it out loud. And I think it takes practice, and it takes patience, and it takes consistency, because ultimately, it's not about the world being okay with us, it's about us being okay with us.
Right.
And the more I can practice being that, the more it's okay for you for me to not be okay in front of you. And that's what I want to see anyway. That's what I connect with. It's not super positive always together, because I can't relate to that. I can relate to it on the surface, because I make mistakes. I'd love, when I watch back what I'm doing up here, I'm horrified sometimes. I'm like, I said what? Because it's important for me, for you guys, and for colleagues to think that I'm smart and I know what I'm talking about. And I can't be smart all the time when smart is measured by perfectionism.
There
Right.
you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
That word, definitely perfection. I think that I strive for that for some reason, and yeah, it's not human.
And I like what Brene Brown says about perfectionism, and that is that when perfectionism is driving the car, shame is always at riding shotgun, and fear is always the annoying backseat driver.
Okay. Yeah.
So, and what we perceive as trying to avoid being hurt is really trying to avoid being seen.
Okay.
And so I want you to, one of the things that helps me, and this is a really simple, silly exercise that for all of us probably goes back to childhood, but does all of us remember what we were told, if you were to catch on fire, what do?
Stop, drop, and roll.
Right.
Stop, drop, and roll. So I want you to think about this, because I do this sometimes. When I bump into my perfectionism, it can feel like a fire on the inside, because they're not good enough. My anxiety kicks up, my chest starts burning, and I have a little bit of a meltdown. But you'd never know it because I got a smile on the outside.
Yeah.
So what I do in those moments is, one, but to get ahead of the negative thinking, I stop it. I take a break, I take a breath, I say, wait a minute, here it comes. I'm not going to try to acknowledge that it's not here, because it's here. So it's got a seat at the table right now, so we're going to have a quick little conversation. And that can happen in 2 seconds or 30 seconds, depending on how much time you have. The second part is drop, and that means take a breath. One of the things we can do with anxiety is breathe, because we forget to when we're feeling it, and we're not feeling enough or perfect. And the other one is roll around in the truth, because the truth is you are enough. You are absolutely enough, top to bottom. Everything you have is beautiful. So remember that piece.
Stop, drop, and roll, baby girl.
I love it. Thank you.
Okay. We want to thank Tara for sharing her story with us, and we don't want you to go anywhere. We'll be right back after this. Coming up.
When is the right time to throw in the towel?
If this won't work, what does that mean about you?
That I failed myself.
We love getting your questions, so we want you to keep them coming via Facebook, Twitter, and on our webpage. Who knows, we might just answer your question here in the studio audience next.